no brawler has had their gameplay more simplified than Melodie. Many people look at Melodie and see her as a heist-only brawler. In this guide, I will tell you how to utilize Melodie to her fullest potential and dominate this meta full of no-skill brawlers. To start, let's look at the recommended build for Melodie. I recommend running the shield gadget with the speed star power. For your gears, I recommend running damage and health. The shield gadget allows Melodie to survive longer and to have greater survivability, and in this meta, survivability is key. I understand that many people run the other gadget, but in my opinion, that gadget has very niche usability. You're not always going to find good value on there. For the star power, you're going to get much more usability out of the speed star power. Melodie reloads her ammo very quickly, so you do not need to worry about your notes evaporating. As an assassin, Melodie needs to get into the fray of battle as much as possible, and with the health gear, she is able to regen her health quicker and to go back into the battle to make an impact for her team. The damage gear acts as a nice finisher on top, allowing Melodie to finish her enemies as quickly as possible. Melodie's super allows you to dash up to 3 times, and while it isn't as game-changing as many other supers, it complements Melodie's kit very, very well. However, when you have super active and you hit someone with your ammo, you do not charge super. So, once you get down to 1 dash, even if you don't need it, use that so that you can charge your full 3 super the next time. If you ever seen the strats of going counterclockwise on a safe to deal the maximum damage, you can use that same strategy with your enemies. By going counterclockwise, Melodie is able to utilize her turning notes to deal more damage. I recommend playing Melodie on Brawl Ball, Gem Grab, and Hot Zones. Contrary to popular beliefs, Melodie's best game mode is not Heist. Her best game mode is Brawl Ball. In Brawl Ball, Melodie is able to utilize her 3 dashes to their fullest potential, allowing you to do trick shots or outmaneuver the enemy. Melodie's best maps are the ones that have open space, which will allow her to dash around her enemies. But even before Melodie can utilize the map, she needs to get her super. Before the match starts, without her super, Melodie is at her most vulnerable. As such, you need to get your super as fast as possible. Let's get into what you've all been waiting for. Her techs. The first tech you need to know is the shield tech. The shield given to Melodie scales based on the amount of notes that she has. However, there is a way to push Melodie past this boundary. Once you have 3 notes and you shoot at a brawler, immediately as that note hits, you must shield. If you do this correctly, you will get 3000 health of shield instead of the usual 2200. In this way, that 800 health could be the difference in matchups. The second tech you should know about Melodie is fairly obvious, but not many people know this. Since the notes rotate around her body in a little space, you can wall peek. When an enemy is near a wall, all you need to do is go close to that wall and just allow your notes to hit them. It's very simple, but it's very effective. You should always keep at least 1 ammo in your arsenal. Not only will this help you finish people off, but it will also allow you to recharge a note in case one evaporates. Let's get into each game mode specifically. In Showdown, to use Melodie fully, you need to get your super as fast as possible. As you're farming cubes, you need to find enemies that you can outrange, not necessarily counter. By outranging these enemies, you're able to farm your super. The 3 dashes that you get will be extremely useful in either going into the center to farm more cubes or saving them and dodging away from an incoming Edgar, Kit, or any other aggressive brawlers. When playing Melodie in Brawl Ball, you must embrace the fact that you are going to be the playmaker. If you aren't comfortable with that, you must practice. With the 3 dashes of Melodie, you are able to dribble the ball. And to dribble, it's fairly easy. You shoot the ball and you super in the direction of the ball. Unless there's an enemy nearby, you will always be able to pick up that ball. With 3 dashes, you are able to dribble the ball 3 times, and that 3 dribbles is oftentimes enough to score a goal. Here are some things that you should keep in mind when playing Brawl Ball. As Melodie, when you have your super, you should always keep an eye on the ball and see where the enemies are. Once you do that, you should think to yourself, what is the best path to the goal and is it plausible? If it's not, then don't do it. Save your super and go confirm a kill. If you ever see that path open, you should take it. Many times in Brawl Ball matches, those opportunities are one in a few. Even if you don't succeed, you practice that for the next match. Brawl Hockey falls under the same category as Brawl Ball. When playing Melodie, you are still the trick shotter. Similarly to the ball in Brawl Ball, the puck can be dribbled by Melodie. Many of you have probably seen Saitampo's Melodie on Hot Zones. And while we all can't be pros, we can learn from his gameplay. When playing Melody, you should strive to still be aggressive, and in doing so, you must farm your super as fast as possible. Once you get your super, you are free to deal with your favorite matchups. Melody is not a zone brawler. You need to dominate the lanes and help one of your teammates who is a zone brawler stay in the zone. Wipeout can fall under the same category as knockout. However, the difference is when you go in as Melody, you have a little more leeway in dying. Hopefully, you're able to kill 2 people when you die, or you can kill 1 and quickly escape. In Gem Grab, Melody, more often than not, will be your designated gem carrier. With her 3 dashes, she is able to dodge many of the brawlers and keep the gems safe. If there is another gem carrier, then she will be relegated into her usual assassin role. For Melody, what I recommend is that if you're gem carrier, you should stay in the lower half of the gem spawner and go and farm your super and hypercharge on the enemy. As an assassin, Melody should push up the lanes up the map and pressure the opponents. If she is able to win a lane, then you have a much better time supporting your teammates in the middle or the other lane using your super. While Knockout is one of Melody's worst game modes, you can still make it work. In Knockout, you need to stay passive until you get your super, and once you get your super, you need to find your best matchup. If you go into a hard counter, you are probably going to die and leave your team in a very bad 2v3 situation. If you find a good matchup, you can dash in once, and if you want, you can dash in more to confirm a kill, or use your remaining supers to dash away. I wouldn't recommend retreating since you spent 30 seconds charging that super that you now just wasted. Since Melody's damage now gets outclassed by most of the meta heist brawlers, oftentimes you're gonna find her unbanned. When you play Melody in heist, your sole goal is to go after the safe. Do not concern yourself with defending your safe. Your teammates can do that. Melody's notes does 1920 damage. When you hit a safe, you're basically dealing 2% each time. And if you go counterclockwise, you're gonna do much more. In Brawl Arena, Melody is one of the better brawlers to use. Her notes allows her to deal damage to the bots quicker and far more experience. While she is not as good as her glory days last year, she is still very valuable in the game mode. I just don't recommend spending 4 minutes of your time at 15 trophies only. I don't think it's worth it. You can be very flexible with how you play Melody in Bounty. You can be the person who gets the blue star and never go after the enemy again, or you leave it to one of your other teammates, which will leave you free to go aggressive. But either way, you should always be aggressive in Bounty. You may be asking how to perform all of the things that I told you in these game modes. When you play Melody, you must play with an aggressive mentality. What I mean is being able to push up the map and farming your super. You should not be afraid of your enemies because 1, your nodes that surrounds you should be a protective force field from them coming after you. And even if they outrange you, you should try your best to dodge their attacks and get in range so that you can get your super off of them. If you're running the shield gadget, even if an assassin like Mortis or Edgar comes after you, you can lengthen your survivability and in doing so, give you time to farm a super to either escape or go in a counterclockwise direction to kill them. Hope you liked this guide video. It took way too long to make. The editing is brutal. If you want another more in-depth video, maybe like brawler interactions, please put it down into the comments. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.